Welcome everyone. Today we have another new episode on smart city projects, and we're going to discuss something about how actually smart city technology work. And beside that, we're going to discuss that how we can implement technology in South Asia and Asia. We have our expert, Dr. Tausif Malik. So hello,
Asia.
Dr. Tausif.
We
How are
have
you?
our expert.
Dr. Tausif, can you hear me?
Dr. Tausif, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, I think that already.
Okay, I think that uh,
already people know about you and know about your activities and your halal investment networks and everything. Can you share something about the smart city technology? Is it practically applicable in South Asia? What your observation?
Okay, as you said, everyone knows about me, but one aspect of me is called, which many people know, but we've now shared on your show. It is called blockchain technology, and I'm also the founder of world's largest crypto mining training program, which we launched in India 2 years ago. And the whole thing is technology helps in eradicating a lot of issues and stuff like that. In fact, it's supposed to be easy, but sometimes it gets difficult. So smart cities and technology should be used in future because it will help in sustainable development. So I'm a strong, advisor or proponent or ambassador of technology and smart cities.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you, thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Basically, like smart city technology is very good. Beside that, I just want to know what the real situation of India. uh, can you share some of the practical experience or something that uh, what the present condition in India, especially what area Indian government focus right now, smart city projects or smart village projects? Previously, we do discuss with few of the expert, and they said that smart village projects also very important and applicable in India. What your observation? What the real scenario right now? You can share with us.
See, the advantage with me, I am an American citizen. Previously, I was an Indian citizen, so I lived in two countries. And America is the leader or beacon of technology. But even in America, we are not using smart technologies. Europe is forefront, and especially in Europe, Scandinavian countries are doing that. A couple of years ago, our Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Bhai Modi ji, started the smart city project. But as of now, uh, after that, nothing has happened. I think I don't know why it's not happened, but it was a couple of locations where the cities were shortlisted, so they were enabling it. But I think China is leading the way in smart cities. When you look Shenzhen, when you look Shanghai, they're using future technologies, and they're not far behind. And if you look in Middle East, Dubai is very advanced in technology. The whole Dubai government is using blockchain technology in doing things. So blockchain technology is Dubai government, right? The minute you walk into the airport, you show your passport, the smart passport, all your data goes on blockchain. So in Asia, I think Dubai is leading the front. And in when you see globally, I think Israel is using smart city technologies. Even when you say villages, Israel uses a lot of technology where food production grows very big, even though it's a desert. So a lot of learnings can be done from Scandinavian countries. A lot of you can use it from Dubai, Israel, China. They are very advanced in this. Unfortunately, the US is not into smart tech. You're right. Smart cities actually.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you. Like, what do you think? Like, is it accessible in South Asia? Like this kind of smart city technology. Also, you are discussing about the blockchain technology, and we know that India is a very good place where actually many software expert actually live in India. Even the software expert actually they play very good roles in different global arena, especially global corporation, big corporations. So what do you want to share your experience, because you have both of the experience from USA as well as from Asia. So how you want to compare or share your experience with us?
See, the great thing about India is we are very talented people, especially in technology. NASA has a lot of Indians, Microsoft have a lot of Indians, Google has a lot of Indians. But Indians, when they go outside, they create innovative technology. They're good programmers. But to be honest, we have not created anything. We have been a back end of everything. Like when you see China, China is just manufacturing, and India is just coding. I was talking to Mr. Sam Pitura, who's you know, the architect of information technology in India. He's also based out of Chicago. And I was requesting talking to Sam sir a couple of years ago. He says, when we started the IT revolution in India, 1980s, we thought we'll become like, product country. But unfortunately, we have become easy for outsourcing. Outsourcing doesn't require much. You pitch a business, you get it. So yes, we have built everything on IT innovation, but we have not created innovation. So that's a challenge, I think, and I'm a little critical about about this, because it's very important. You have to be critical about sometimes about our community and country. But when you look at China, when you look at Israel, when you look Scandinavian countries, they're far ahead. What India can learn is we already have technology experts. We already have the government of vision of smart cities. But if we can work together and think about how we can develop smart cities where public transport is there, that public transport is sustainable, green, how we can use street lighting, again green technology, how we can create where a certain like in America, when you do city planning, it is in block system. 1 mile by 1 mile, the city gets cut, north, south, east, west. That way what happens, it saves on traffic. If there's a traffic jam, you can bypass that traffic. So it's a smart grid planning. It's called grid planning. This actually happened when the Great Chicago Fire happened, and the town planners decided that they will use grid and coordinates to design a city. They use numbering on east, west, north, south, and even numbers will be on this side, odd numbers will be this side when the city cuts. So there you don't need a map. If somebody tells you, like, I live in Devon and Artisan street, so when I say Devon and Artisan, there's only one in Devon and Artisan in Chicago. So I just go there, simple as that. So it helps me doing GPS. And we can learn a lot of things on smart cities. Smart cities is going to happen because the population explosion will happen, and there will be a lot of issues happening around where people need to, the governments need to. In fact, I was one of a part of a project in one of the middle cities where a couple of years ago the government was tendering to start a new city. I didn't That project didn't happen. I was part of that, one of the projects there. So smart city is inevitable. What we have to learn is the government vision, public private sector, and the role of individuals. How can they change things? Like when you look at Bangladesh, when Professor Yunus, Dr. Yunus started the Grameen Bank, it came to a saturation point. If they had used that technology, enabled people, upgraded them. So constantly, if you're a smart city, you have to go to constant evolution. You can't just say we have achieved it. Like in Saudi Arabia, they're developing hydrogen, even though it's an oil-rich country. The new city they're developing is on hydrogen, means water. So smart cities is inevitable, whether it's a rural or city. Good to see Akram.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mr.
Thank you,
Akram.
Mr. Akram.
Sorry, I was in mute. Thank you so much, Dr. Sharif. I'm really sorry I'm a little late, I think, for your show. But very good to hear Dr. Malik sharing his perspective on smart cities.
Mhm. Yes, but we just want to know, like, what's your perspective about smart city, and you are doing a lot of policy making discussions. You have strong collaborations inside India as well as the global arena as well. So how do you want to share your experience with us about the smart city projects inside India? Beside that, in the COVID period, when we're discussing with the other expert, and they are sharing their views. Maybe a country like India, a country like Bangladesh, they can more focus on the smart village project. So, what your perspective about that? And for what about the technology and other things?
Absolutely. It's actually, I don't know, it's quite a complicated subject, but it is also a very easy subject. I do not know. I have a PPT, whether should I share or I should speak. Maybe I'll share a couple of things for our viewers. Now, let me first show that urbanization, is a phenomena which is unending, which is never going to stop, and so is the migration, because the rural India cannot create the desired jobs and can give desired salary. The people from rural world to the urban world is inevitable, and when that happens, and if the cities are not planning pretty well, then there'll be unplanned urbanization, which is actually a mess and creates a lot of problem for people to live a healthy life, and also for the government to manage it well. Now, there are three things. I will share a couple of points. Maybe let me just give some perspective with regards to urbanization and the global urbanization trend. So, at present, there are 54.5% of the world population live in urban areas, in urban settlements. Urban settlements means they are many. Some of them are planned, some of them are unplanned, and which also means that almost 60% of the population by 2030 will be living in cities. There are, as of now, 512 cities in the world with more than 1 million population. Now, there are more than 33 mega cities in 2020 all through the world, around the world, and which is 33 mega cities. When I say mega city means the cities with population of more than 30 million, which is going to increase to 43 by 2030. That's one figure. Now, I want to present three separate facts to the audience that we have here. One is, what will be the top cities of the world in terms of GDP? So, which are the largest cities of the world? So, if you see, America, United States has just 3 cities in the top. China has 4 cities in the top 10 cities. So there are top 10 cities I'm just mentioning, where United States has 3, China has 4, and then we have Tokyo, we have London, we have Paris, where the GDP is more than uh, almost a trillion ton. For example, New York is the number 1 city with a GDP of 2.5 trillion. Chicago is I think, let me name the second city. The second city is Tokyo, which with a like GDP of 1.9 trillion. The third one is Los Angeles with GDP of 1.5 trillion. The fourth one is London with 1.3 trillion. The fifth one is Shanghai with 1.3 trillion. The sixth one is Beijing, 1.1 trillion. So I'll just name. So Guangzhou, Shenzhen, London, Paris. These are the cities in the top 10. Now, if you ask me, what are the top cities of the world by population? So again, the list goes like this. Number 1 is Jakarta. Jakarta, I'm not telling in sequence, but Dhaka, Jakarta, Mumbai, Lagos, Kinshasa, Tokyo, Mexico City, Karachi. These are the top, even Shanghai also are among the top cities by population, and which will be again top cities by 2030. Now is the very important fact. What are the top cities by GDP growth? So if you see by GDP growth, India played a pretty brilliant, and Dhaka also. So there are 3 cities of India: Delhi, Bangalore, and Mumbai, which are in the top list. Dhaka is the second city, which means that Dhaka is among the top 10 second city of the world growing with highest GDP growth. Then we have Manila, Shanghai, Tianjin, uh, Chongqing, Jakarta, Shenzhen. So many Chinese cities are also there. So that's the trend that I have now. There are a lot of points actually I can share, but I don't know where to start and what to end. But what I want to say now here, from my wisdom and understanding, city or urbanization, take place where the industrialization take place. So people migrate to areas where there are more job opportunities, more work. So what we need to think and keep in mind, there are three things. One is, where are the industrialization happening? Around that, how do we build cities, keeping in mind of three things again: the economic point of view, that I already talked about, the industrialization. The second is ecological point of view, that how are they sustainable ecologically, environmentally and ecologically. The third important aspect that we need to also plan is, there are again three kind of development process that we need to bring in. There are already cities which are extremely congested. We need to bring new technology, extremely innovative technology, uh, to bring smartness into those congested area, because you can't then decongest them. It is just simply impossible. For example, there are many ghettos or many areas or cities which are extremely congested. What we need to bring in those areas is, we need to bring extremely high innovation and technology to make them smart. The second is, there are other cities where we need to bring redevelopment. So there are cities which are marginally developed, which are not very congested, but also not very planned, but where there are decent amount of people. And there are areas which are completely empty. We call them wastelands. Every country has huge amount of wastelands. Now countries can plan and use those wastelands to make better cities. I have more. Okay, so now there are a couple of questions that can come to your mind. Number one, where will you get money? Because building smart cities is extremely broadly expensive, because you need transport, you need better sustainable transport system, you need better energy, sustainable energy system, you need massive amount of technology. So how do you raise huge amount of fund that is required for this? So that is where the emerging countries need to learn from many of the developing countries, like how this sustainable finance can be brought in, or to build such massive smart or sustainable infrastructure or cities. The number one is, the developing countries loan infrastructure, or the mortgage or loan lending, money lending system needs to be reformed. If you see countries like India, Bangladesh, or many South Asian countries, they are very short-sighted. Infrastructure is a long-term, investment. You cannot. The banks often give you loan. So in India, if you don't pay your mortgage or EMI in 3 months of three consecutive months, the loan will be considered bad debt, bad loan. Now, no infrastructure company can give you return in 3 months. Infrastructure, whether it is road, whether it is ports, whether it is railway, whether it is airport, or any huge societies, they are of 20 years of investment. So those infrastructure setups can give you return in 20 years or 30 years or 15 years. So the banks, the government will have to bring in such clause or reforms, so that the loan given to the infrastructure should be of complete different nature in the return policy. Because imagine, if the current amount of rate we need to repay the infrastructure loan for 20 years, the return amount is exorbitantly high, which is completely unsustainable for the developers to repay back. So that is why we need much more relaxation, and a very liberal system or loan system or lending system in the infrastructure, or for the infrastructure especially. The second is, we need public-private participation. It is not about just partnership. We need participation. Means when it is about developing infrastructure, there are a lot of issues with regards to getting the lands from the public. So that is why we need innovative process of raising money as well as participation of the common people, so that they become part of the journey to fight the land acquisition problem or challenges that many emerging or developing countries face. The many other thing is the government budget is definitely one that should be taken very seriously. I don't want to go into the details. So the point that I want to make, that there are many developed or advanced countries who are ready with good amount of money to give back to the poor countries, whether it is India or Bangladesh or China, Nepal or Bhutan. We talk about. I'm talking from South Asian perspective. The issue is that the government will have to give some kind of support, or some kind of certificate or guarantee, or some. So government doesn't have to repay the money back, but the government will have to ensure that if an European bank or a company or an American entity is putting $50 billion or $100 billion or $200 billion to the infrastructure projects in the emerging countries, then the clause for such important such things, like whether the government guarantee will play a tremendous role. The government guarantee means the government assurance that your money is safe, and whenever you want to return or repay, our policy wise we are fixed, and you have our support from us. So these kind of things will play tremendous role. I think I have a lot more points, but I don't want to continue. Maybe in the interaction I'll come back again with some points.
Yes, thank you. This is actually a very good point. Basically, we are discussing some sort of the technological aspect. Let's say, example, in Bangladesh, South Asia, still we do not have 5G technology. Malaysia is a 4G technology, but example, Malaysia has lab for using different kind of smart city technology, what actually Dr. Tausif come. But you are coming up with a very good idea of mega projects development as well as investment and this point of view. So Dr. Tausif, you are also scholars and you have very good understanding about Islamic finance. So can you share about that, the Islamic finance and this kind of investment opportunity in this kind of mega projects? What I know, even from Malaysia to Bangladesh, it has a mega project, Jil Mill projects. I think it's $1.8 billion investment. So it's a very successful investment. Professor Dr. Sabrina, she is actually leading these projects. So my questions to you, that how we can utilize Islamic finance for this kind of mega project.
Let me just, the few things what Akram said, let me just build on to that, and then I'll come to Islamic finance. And I saw a couple of messages from the viewers, so I'll address and I'll come back to that. Number one, when you think grand, it is grand, but you have to do also micro stuff. In my city, there is a city called, there's a township called Magarpatta city. It was founded by Satish Magar. There were 121 farmers, and what they did is they formed a cooperative society. Okay, and they decided only 30% of the development will be sold to outside people. 70% they will retain as for themselves. So they will lease out SEZ, where outsourcing companies can come. They can have a shopping mall. They can have a hospital. They can have school and colleges, and they use smart technology where the excreta of the residents or the people who are coming to office is creating biogas, which is actually not dumped into rivers now. Once the biogas is generated, that is converted into fertilizer and spread across this township. It is, I think, 1,000-acre township, which has won a lot of awards. So where they're using smart technology, which is limited technology, where they're converting the human excreta into all this stuff. That is one. Secondly, what they're doing is also is energy efficient in that space because of that. Now coming back, when Akram talked about government projects, 1931, there was a great recession in America, and that time the president of the United States decided to developing, railway policy from New York to, let's assume California, and the entire California. Now, what happened is the minute the infrastructure was put, it became super. America became a superpower, right? So government pumped in money. That is one. Secondly, when you look at modern cities like Shanghai or Shenzhen, the government came up rather than asking money from private investors or anyone. They started putting the development of the city. Even they removed the ancient historical places to new landmarks. A lot of people opposed it, but they said if the current residents can't enjoy the benefits, what's the point of it? And then they created smart development program. Now coming back, when we talked about 2 years ago, I started a program called crypto mining. Now Akram raised a very interesting point. Employment will be in the cities. Why can't we create employment in rural areas? Now in rural areas there is no opportunities because everyone will, it's like a magnet coming to the city. But we decided to put a program where we could do crypto mining. People can be in villages using the internet using crypto mining. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. But in America, there's this company called Arise, which is using smart technology. When President Obama said all outsourcing will be stopped, Arise used something called cloud technology, where I don't need to go to office. I just need a broadband internet. I need a landline. I need a computer, and I can work from home as call center. So they deleted all the managerial expenses. Now coming back to Islamic finance and all this, uh, development can come from all spheres. Investment can come from all spheres. Now, when you're specifically looking at Dr. Mahathir Mohamad put a grand plan to develop Malaysia into a developed country in next 20, 30 years, right? Singapore achieved that. What they did is they created highways, which they put travel and stuff, which eliminated pollution. Now, there was a question from one of the viewers is how sustainable. When you have super highways, when you have green technology to run transport, you are being sustainable. Now, how Islamic finance can come? Most of the Muslim countries have gas, petrol in abundance when you look at the map. And they have something called sovereign funds. Big money. Qatar, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Oman, even Malaysia has a sovereign fund. When you have sovereign funds of trillions of dollars, that can be invested rather than talking to individual investors because that takes a lot of time. And when two governments talk, it's a different spin altogether. So that's the roadmap we can look at is getting the sovereign funds involved.
Uh, thank you, Dr. Tausif Malik, for your valuable discussion. We have our another new guest. He's Mr. Kamrul Islam. He's from UK right now, and he has a practical experience for all of the mega project. Especially, he do work for the planning ministry. So, Mr. Kamrul, so how are you today? Can you please introduce yourself? And we are just discussing about the smart city projects. Our few of our guests from India, actually, Dr. Tausif Malik, he lived in USA. Mr. Akram, he live in India. I'm from Malaysia, and I think that you right now live in UK. So, can you please introduce yourself and what the initiative of actually Bangladesh governments or South Asian governments, different kind government they are taking for developing different kind of mega project. Specifically, we want to focus on smart city project.
Thank you, Rana. Thank you very much. I am in UK, but I'm not permanent here. For 1 year, I am here for having a MSc degree in strategic studies and management. Basically, I work in the government of Bangladesh, and as I have a very good connection with you, and you visited my ministry when I worked in the Ministry of Planning, and I had the opportunity to know about the smart city and the sovereign fund. Uh, as you told me that I can say in Bangladesh currently the concept of smart city is not in implementation like Malaysia or other country in the Asia, but we're implementing mega projects we call in the government fast track projects. There are top 10 projects according to the budget, and within the top 10 there is no project like the smart city.
Hmm.
you know that you know that as you are from Bangladesh, you know that uh, our whole country is morely divided into two parts. One is the city or the town, and another is the rural area or village. But recently the government is trying to develop another new concept, that is we will try to convert all the villages as town. That means all the facilities of town will transfer and will develop in the villages. Suppose
Villages.
yeah, suppose I
Suppose
sorry,
Yes, Mr. Kamrul, please.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Suppose you know that a lot of population in our country, but our land is very limited, and we are using land more and more day by day, and our collective land or industrial land is squeezing day by day. And for this, uh, we are trying to use multi-storage building in the village also, and we set up some role model village town where multi-stored in a multi-stored building the villagers can live, and we can use the land perfectly, not abuse the land for our household.
Mhm. Excellent. Can you share few of the progression? I just want to share with you, like from Malaysia, there is a project called Jilmil projects. I think it's a PPP, public-private partnership projects. So one of the projects moving inside Bangladesh. Is it under the like planning ministry, or it's under Prime Minister office, or what the
Okay,
progression you want to share?
yeah, yeah. You know that recently we have developed a authority, PPP authority. It is not under the Ministry of Planning. It's under the Prime Minister's office, and already we have completed some projects under PPP, but there is the growth is very slow here, not very fast, because you know that in PPP there is two parties, one is government, another is the non-government sector. And you know that in the development area, all of the construction work when we do from the government, first we call for tender, then the contractors came, then after coming the contractor they start the work. But in reality we pay them part by part, and they get our money, and getting our money they then reinvest for the next part. This is the reality.
Mhm.
But in PPP they have to invest fast, and they will take benefit after the development work.
Mhm.
Sup- Suppose but by the toll or by another process.
Mhm.
So uh, there is a problem to get investors. They are not too much agree to go for PPP, uh, rather than they comfort to work with the another projects.
Mhm. Excellent. I just want to take one audience question, and this question is specifically for you, Onika Shams. Her question is that is decentralization can be implemented in Bangladesh?
Decentralization is a academic term, I think,
Mhm.
and in practice, we are going on the decentralization. You know that once upon a time, uh, everything was imposed by the government from top to bottom, but now we are going for the bottom up policy. We, the politicians and the administrators who work in the rural area, they sometimes, very often, they are taking feedbacks from the people, they are thinking, and in many of the projects, we are taking the ideas from the bottom to the top. And in this way, I think that we are going to the decentralization. You know about the local administration.
Mhm.
Once upon a time, people go to the administration, but now we, the young people who are working with the local administration, we go to the door to door to the
Mhm.
people to give the service to the people.
Mhm. Yes.
Scenario is changing
Yes.
because you know that in India and Bangladesh and where there was British colony, our administrative setup is colonial setup, but with the new generation we are trying to change it. But it is
Excellent.
in the changing projects.
Yes, excellent. Mr. Akram, my questions to you, as you are discussing about the mega project, especially smart city projects, what the progression in India? Like, can you share, as you are running policy times and you are highly connected inside India, you are media person, so can you share your views? What's happening in inside India?
I'm very, very afraid that I don't have much information to share as Mr. Kamrul Islam just shared about Bangladesh. The story is pretty much same here. Indian government has initiated or had taken an amazing initiative called the Smart City Campaign. Under this, we plan to create 25 smart cities, I think, at the beginning. Then we are planning to create 100 smart cities uh, over a period of time. India has also allocated a huge amount of money for that. So the work is going on. But there are a lot of ground challenges, which maybe I'll discuss later. But I want to connect with the decentralization. Anika Shams asked this question because that was so very spicy to answer. Decentralization is all about the people power. The problem with democracies is that we have complete illiterates, uneducated people, having the voting rights, voting power. What is so? Imagine someone who is a beggar on the street. He has a voting right. Who is a complete ignorant about development. Uh, has no understanding about what is the role of education in social transformation. What is the role of a lawyer? What does an educated person do and different from others? The problem with democracy is that the people have the power without knowledge of having that power. When we have that, that means the other people who are sitting on the other side will take complete advantage of it. So if you see in the poor or backward or emerging countries, democracy is like a blessings in disguise. We don't know what is the power that we have, but we have it, so we use it. So that is why we are not able to bring the decentralization. Decentralization is a complete different term. Decentralization is a very strategic process. So, but yes, decentralization is the ultimate thing. So when Mahatma Gandhi, the father of India, when he also coined the Swaraj concept of Swaraj, and because the end is decentralization. Whether you study communism, if you study communism or socialism or the extreme advanced stage of democracy, you will find it is all about decentralization. And the end is decentralization. But for that, people will have to be to that level to achieve it. Now, I want to say, you talked about India. India's smart city initiatives are really praiseworthy. The issue is about the implementation. So we are struggling with what role state is going to play vis-a-vis the center. Then a lot of money, infrastructure, the financing part that I just mentioned. There are a lot of challenges with regards to the amount of money that we need to bring in. We need in the plan. The other latest things, though I don't have much idea about, there are two points that I want to mention. The first point is smart city is not a success unless there is smart rural planning, because half of India's population are going to come to the smart cities. Now imagine if you don't have smart rural planning, you will bound to have immense flux of people in the urban areas. So there is no way you can manage such huge influx of people. So we need actually very nice rural management ecosystem where we provide job opportunities, as Dr. Malik was mentioning, that how do we create jobs at the rural belt? Because you have to stop somewhere. Either you have to stop population growth or you have to stop migration. You have to stop out of this too. The challenges are same between Bangladesh and India. The second thing, I don't somehow agree with the term smart because we are not even planned yet. You are planned first, then you become smart. So countries like us, like Bangladesh, India, and all, we are not planned yet. The urbanization is happening randomly because the government has no clue about what to do, or the policymakers have no idea about what to do. We are not even planning things. Cities are emerging like naturally. People are fluxing, coming to cities. They are building their own houses here and there. Some of these things are happening. So, firstly, we need to just plan things out. The government will have to think 10 years ahead of what is going to emerge. So, we need to study what will be the picture of urbanization of cities 10 years later. Then only we plan today, and then only we'll be able to catch or arrest the challenge. And we can, so once we become plans or we become successful in making planned cities, automatically you will see we become smart nation, or start becoming or developing smart cities.
Mhm. Excellent. Especially from the decentralization part, I want to go to Dr. Tausif regarding decentralization issues. Uh, it's not only decentralization. Let's say when Malaysia, let's say Kuala Lumpur has a lot of office and administration and everything, that time Mahathir bin Mohamad, he took the decentralization strategy. I don't know why it's not practically possible. Definitely, it's practically possible, and he took all of his administration in Putrajaya. He built up his tech city in Cyberjaya. So my question is that I don't know what the theoretical aspects, or I don't know what the actually things happening inside South Asia, that we cannot take that kind of decentralizations initiative and planning. And I don't know what's the problem behind the implementation and other thing. Is it the things that businessmen, those who live in inside Dhaka, they are more powerful than government? Or I don't know, what's going on? I love to learn from Mr. Kamrul, because of he has all of the initiative from the and all of the understanding about the planning ministry has 5 years plan. I think they are making 100 years of planning, what I know. So I will come later, but before that I want to go to Dr. Tosif, because he has experience about USA. So what's the meaning of decentralization? I think this is very, very important point for today's discussion.
Akram said about how Western society is decentralized. If you actually read the Quran, it talks about a decentralization. It talks about local area shuras, and then local area. When you look at Baghdad, Baghdad was a superpower. When you see Tehran, Tehran was a superpower. When you look at Makkah, Medina, when you look at Turkey, Turkey was a superpower, Ottoman Kingdom. Why? Because everything was decentralized. But right now, all these people want control. That's one. Now, thanks to COVID, it's sometimes blessing in disguise, especially Indian context, where all these IT professionals from 2 tier, 3 tier cities were in the cities now, in big cities, they have moved back.
I think he has internet connectivity issue, so he'll be back. We can continue the discussion with. So you got to unmute yourself, Dr. Sharif.
Yes, I think you can discuss, Mr. Kamrul. I want to start from you and Mr. Akram as well. Mr. Kamrul, how do you want to share the concept of decentralization? And especially, I know that Bangladesh government had 100 years of plan, and you are one of the important person for making the. Can you unmute yourself, Mr. Kamrul, please? Yes,
Yes.
yes. Who actually helped to develop this kind of planning, implementation, and evaluation things? So, can you share your experience with us?
First of all, I want to thank Mr. Hawk again. I do agree with many points of him. We all of us we know about from our history that in uh, in the South Asia, especially once we had self-sufficient village community, that is the whole economy and social culture, structure were self-sufficient. And till now, the problem is in the rural area. I agree with Mr. Hawk. Uh, because most of the part of the country is till now not urban, it's rural. And the government is trying to make holistic plan, long-term plan, short-term plan. But from the government in the developing country, what the government do? Basically, the government make the infrastructure, make the way to go. Basically, the development goes through the private sector, and reality is has there. If private sector boom, the country will raise the position. And in case of Bangladesh, there was no there are no plans like this way what we are doing now. Long term plan, we have now perspective plan vision 2021, and we are preparing 7 5-year plan, 8 5-year plan. That is every 5-year plan we set up some criterias in every sectors, and now we are monitoring the development how it is going through. Basically, the government try to make the infrastructure for the people and for the private sector, and if the private sector become developed, the country will be developed.
Excellent. I want to take a question from the audience. He's Mr. James. His question is that how do we legislate or change policy so that decentralization can be a realistic possibility while not disrupting too much healthy functioning network of commerce and governance? So what the idea, Mr. Kamrul as well as Mr. Akram?
Very simply, I can tell about Bangladesh and India. There are two parts in development, in administration in India and Bangladesh. One is from political and another is from bureaucratic part. And
Mhm.
combinedly, this work in the development in a country. When all of the problems of these two parts will be solved, when the software and hardware will match very nicely, then the output will come
Excellent.
very
No,
accelerable. Thank you.
excellent, excellent. Yes, thank you, Mr. Kamrul. This is called experience, to the point. Okay, Mr. Akram, what do you want
And
to
I
share
mean,
about your policy times? What do you want to share about this politicians and bureaucrat strategy? How do we solve these things? I think this is very
I
interesting point.
and this is where I don't want to actually speak much, because then I use a language which is not very gentle for many people. The issue, but I come back. I'll go into that part also.
No, no, it's my our today's guest from planning ministry. So don't
Right.
worry. If he can, you also can.
So yes, see, the problem is there is no system which is bulletproof, foolproof, or best. All system can work, and no system, all system can also fail. It is not the system, it is the people involved in the system that make the system whether a success or a failure. By this, what I mean to say, it is not about planning always, it is about the implementation.
Mhm.
And what we are talking about decentralization is actually implementation is impossible without decentralization. What we need to understand, no prime minister of any country can build roads, no chief minister can build schools. What we need, the chief minister or the prime ministers or the minister of states or minister of sectors, they can only outline the roadmap, which is planning. But planning is actually, we should have a ministry of implementation which could oversee exactly what is happening. So no country in the world has ministry of implementation. Countries have ministry of planning, but planning does not implement. So in India we have Niti Aayog. We stopped planning commission, then we have Niti Aayog, but there is no ministry. Or so we have auditing body in India. We have the Comptroller and Auditor General, CAG, which audits the activity of the government, but they don't have the implementation power or enforcing power to ensure or punish if someone is failing to implement a project. So we need a very strong and a stringent system. If anyone fails to implement a policy or a plan, they should be punished. This punishment system can work a lot. And actually the punishment system is about the citizens' voice and rights. If the citizen are very active and take very active power that they have in their hand, I think they can. I think, Dr. Sharif, if you can repeat your question, then I'll answer it. I forgot the question.
No, basically, like we want to discuss about the decentralizations as well as what Mr. Kamrul come up with the idea of uh, politicians as well as administrators, like bureaucratic issues and the politician issues, how we can solve these things easily.
Yeah, I mean, solution. I think only God has solutions for this. But what I can say that the bureaucratic class comes from the educated class. So once they clear their examinations and become the bureaucrats, the system is same in Bangladesh or India. Like they become the bureaucratic officers. They develop the arrogance. It is about so when we say this, we say that a government official say, I'm into public service. Public service means you are a servant of the public, right? You are supposed to serve the people. I'm sorry, Kamrul Islam Saab, please don't take this otherwise. The moment you are...
No, he's an honest employee. He come up with the idea that what's going on and how we can solve these things.
The moment you are a public servant, whether you are an Indian administrative officer or a police officer or anyone, you are a servant. You take money from the country, from the people. You don't behave like a servant. You behave like a king or a boss. So you behave like a CEO of a good company. So CEO is a good term. I don't want to pollute the term CEO with this. So you are like a servant. Servant means you serve the people's interest. You make the people's life easy. You address the people's concerns. So the problem is there. Now the other problem is the politicians. Now I don't want to talk about the politicians. They are the worst people that can come. The problem is, because we have the illiterate, ignorant voters, we have the illiterate, ignorant politicians, which will have no connection with the system. Now, politicians, bureaucrats do not gel. They are one educated class, and the politicians class, they do not gel and find solution. Actually,
no, I have little bit of disagreement with you. I politely disagree with you because what I know, I do not want to say in front of Mr. Kamrul because he is my friend, and even it's a public place. I invite him. I have that kind of confidence because I can remember when Bangladesh has a massive problem of dengue. So that time he personally visit every rural area of the city, and he take the initiative with the local community. Let's say rickshaw pullers, small shop, and the local community, root level people. He meet with them, he create awareness, and he create a very good example. Like I want to say, like, okay, now Bangladesh doing very good, but it's a combination of work. Even government employee has some good things. I do not want to like he's in front of me, not like that. I invite him because he has that kind of guts, that kind of honesty and sincerity. And even personally I know him, that when the dengue happened in Bangladesh, that time he did all of the rural level work, root level work, very root level work. It's like a more than a servant. Even for me it's not possible. I'm very honest with you how he worked for the dengue solution and these things.
With total due respect to Kamrul Islam Saab, there are exceptional politicians. There are exceptional. Sheikh Hasina in Bangladesh as PM is doing wonderful in terms of uplifting the country from where it was, where it is now. It has surpassed India, such a big, massive power nearby. But your textile industry is one of the biggest now in the world. I think I'm connected with a lot of party officials. They are the growth orientation that you have brought in a country like India, in the country like Bangladesh, is tremendous. You have done a tremendous, exceptional job, and it is only possible when bureaucrats like you are there in the ministry. So you are giving the right planning. That is why it is a bottom-up approach. Because you are making good policy.
I think his department is project implementation and evaluation. So they are more focused on implementation, right? Not in planning. If I'm not wrong, Mr. Kamrul, if you want to share something.
Now, first of all, I want to talk on a point about the changing in politics in
Mhm,
Bangladesh. Though I work in the bureaucracy, I should not comment on the politics, but I want to comment because you know that in India and Bangladesh, the involving in the politics is
mhm,
also
mhm,
called a profession. But which is not true in the Europe or USA. But in our country now the situation is changing. Not like this. The uh, people who are coming more smart, more literate, highly qualified, they're coming to politics. And now in our country, many ministers, there's too much young, highly educated, and
mhm,
very
mhm,
positive. And for this, I think that with the leadership of our Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, there is a sense is happening in the politics also.
mhm,
Another thing, Mr. Hawk told that there is no ministry in the world or in Asia who is do with the implementation. There is planning ministry, but I want to share you, Mr. Hawk, that in our country, I worked 3 years last. There is a division. Division is like ministry, who is headed by a secretary and 100 officials. Uh, in our country, it is called Implementation Monitoring and Evaluation Division. Basically, in Bangladesh, all of the development works is done by under the annual development program.
mhm,
Annual
mhm,
development program, I we call it ADP in brief. ADP, annual development program, is a part of the annual budget. That means there are two parts of annual budget. One is revenue budget, another is development budget, and the whole development budget is implemented uh, through some projects near about one 1000 or more than 1000 projects each year. Currently it is 1500 projects is running in Bangladesh, and all of the project is under the annual development program. Basically the implementation monitoring and evaluation division, uh, it it works to monitor. How it monitor? Basically it monitors by online, by some reporting, and by inspection, field visit. But what we from my experience I can share you, the problem is only 100 officers, they cannot monitor. What is monitor? Monitor means suppose in your house a kid is playing, you are walking your you are watching TV or reading newspaper, but you are watching what he is doing, you are monitoring like this, keeping in the track. But it is not possible for 100 officer to keep track all the 1500 projects. So in a year we twice or thrice visit the project, and the good part, the project manager show us the good part and they try to hide the bad part. There is problem, they try to hide. Sometimes we try to discover the problem and we give them suggestion how to fix it. Generally when we ask, we have some committee to uh, to monitor this very well by the secretary of the ministries. It's called steering committee. In
mhm,
every month there is meeting of steering committee. When the secretary or the official asks them, tell us freely what's the problem in your implementation stage, generally they says that, sir, we have no problem, doing well. But after some month, 1 or 2 months, they send the project again for revision, that I cannot go with the money, the we should revise the project. Why revise? You tell few months ago there is no problem, but you are coming to revise, you need more money. What's the problem? Then they say the problem. So we are trying. Our prime minister told us to implementation monitoring and evaluation division secretary, please buy helicopter if you want to visit project quickly or randomly. He is owning the department, and we are trying to develop this because there is a problem. I'm taking long. Sorry, there is a problem that with the civil service, with the civil servant, we come from various backgrounds. Suppose a man from sociology, a man from political science, or from Bengali or English literature go through the examination process and get job in the civil service, and after this, suppose he is working in the implementation monitoring, he is going to visit a bridge or a big project which is too much engineering. He don't know about engineering, but how he will assess the what is the quality of the work. And for this, we have developed some manuals where some basic concepts, basic technology, introduction is introduced, and we are doing some trainings so that they can understand. And also, we are hiring some consultants to help our people for good monitoring. And that's
Excellent.
all.
Excellent. Dr. Tosif, I'm coming to you because
Oh, another
we do
point
not want to
I
miss
want
it.
to share, that is, we have recently developed a online system, that is project management implementation system, PMIS.
Mhm,
It's for online monitoring. Every project will be connected, the data will be inputted, we'll get the data,
mhm,
and also anytime we can join with the camera, the implementation monitoring and evaluation secretary or the official, they can connect with
mhm,
online. Suppose a work on the road is doing, we'll see from our office how the road construction is going on.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yes,
Thank you.
one specific point I want to, even though I'm a Bangladeshi, I'm trying to come up with the good things about Bangladesh. Not only that, I have experienced more
Rana,
than
till
100
now
countries.
there are lots of
Yes,
problems in
yes, but
everywhere.
issue is that
But
issue is
I
that
am
we are
hopeful that
progressing.
once upon
We
a
are
time,
progressing.
day by day, we'll develop and we'll reach our goal.
Yes, like what type of mega projects are happening right now? It's actually big activities. And how I get experience from the planning ministry and the prime minister office from Bangladesh, it's not, I'm not trying to selling Bangladesh. Fact, I'm telling truth. Now they're world class. I'm very much sure they're world class. Their service, even I think in between few hours, I get access for the uh, presentations in planning ministry. So it's definitely rare in many countries. That is one of the strategy. People always say that, oh, it's bad, there are a lot of corruption, this, that. I say no, try to engage with that, try to figure out the way. If you fail, then you can say, okay, but I do not try anything. But from the like far more behind, maybe I am 100 miles away from my destination, I say I cannot go there, it's a problem, it's a corruption, it's things are not like that. I believe that South Asia has very big future. I'm
Yes.
sure South Asia has very big future. Even what I'm observing from in terms of democracy, in terms of public administration, because the people like different administrators, they are learning from that all of the top university, from the top level, and they're going back. What I see that even Mahathir Mohamad also taking the same initiative for developing Malaysia. What I observing right now in India, Bangladesh, even in Pakistan, even South Asia has very good future. But I want to ask Dr. Tausif, based on that, Mr. James come up with the thoughts that very helpful discussion. Implementation is the key. Honesty, servant of the public, initiative, local community, and organism is the exceptions for some rare politician. Thank you. So Dr. Tausif Malik, we are in that discussions that how we can solve the bureaucratic issues as well as politician issues. There are many negative things as well as there are many positive things. How we can implement it in South Asia based on your North American experience.
See, the experience of being a global citizen, living in so many countries. especially I saw the development of Dubai so rapid when I moved in 2000, and there were only 20 towers maximum in Sheikh Zayed Road. Now there are 300 towers. It's all about the leadership at the top. That's one. And Dubai doesn't have resources. Okay, there's no oil and gas. So the founder of Dubai, Sheikh Rashid, Maktoum, His Highness, when he saw that there was a natural creek in Dubai, which he used it for ports, and then he developed it. Unfortunately, what happens is you put a grand plan and then you become like a fuss. You have to build on small things. When you start with small things, then you take it on to next things. Now, let's use an example of Bangladesh. Now, the Bangladesh economy is growing very fast. Okay, money is coming in too much. If the local government and private sector and the national government work together and say, listen, next to Dhaka, we can have another city, so slowly we can move people there, or maybe new suburbs where we can design things in a smart way. Okay, you don't need to create new cities; you just create a new suburb. Okay, a lot of people will move there. The other thing is, if you can put, corruption will be always there. In Western society, it's called lobbying. You lobby it. It's official. If you look at American pharmaceutical companies, they last year gave $300 million to politicians. That's why the healthcare policy is not working in America. So corruption will be there, but good corruption are always welcomed. If a good project is there and if you have to grease it to the official, it's fine because the good project will go faster. Okay, and sometimes what happens with the officials, they kill the hen which is giving a golden egg. If you get a good industry, it will give you more money anyways. You don't need to get into corruption. Okay, now when I was in 90s, I was one of the, you know when the IT boom became, I was the branding expert in that. uh, Chandrababu Naidu, Hyderabad had nothing. All the Hyderabadis moved out of the country. Okay, and then Chandrababu Naidu, those days technology was very limited. He started the e-governance. He used to come with his laptop. He used to sit at the door. And within a span of 5 years, the whole Hyderabad changed. I was traveling to Hyderabad and asked a rickshaw guy, and I said, "How's Hyderabad doing?" He's told in a local dialect, "Babu ने बहुत अच्छा काम किया. Babu ने जबरदस्त काम किया." Right? So Babu became this thing. But then what happened is, I don't know how the system, what happened to Chandrababu Naidu, but competing to what you say, Bangalore, Cyberabad became the big thing. Microsoft came to visit him. His Highness the Sheikh Mohammed invited Chandrababu Naidu. Now, when you look at all the global scenario, you have certain new European countries are giving e-business, like Slovenia, Slovakia, where they use technology. You don't have to go to the government. They give you e-business. There's a lot of learning that can be used from smart cities. And now I'll focus on Bangladesh because you are two Bangladeshis out here. I'm an American, Akram is Indian, so let's focus on Bangladesh. Bangladesh can leap forward, use this economic powerhouse to build better cities. And if they build a better city, if right now officials officially making, for example, $20,000 a year as salary, if the local government starts getting high taxation, their salaries will go up, right? Because when governments get taxation, it's called windfall. It is automatically given to the employees. So if all these, government officials, private public sector, if they all think that why don't we use this growth story and build a better Bangladesh, right? That would be awesome. Let's work means that would be a great thing. And we have been discussing a project for Bangladesh. Maybe next time we'll have a discussion on that. Dr. Sharif and Akram.
Thank you, thank you. I directly want to go for the uh, economic impact in South Asia in the COVID period. What your observation? What will be the economic impact, and what will be the strategy how actually South Asia can overcome from this situation. What your like opinion on that particular points? I want to start with Mr. Akram, then Mr. Kamrul, then Dr. Tausif Malik.
Thank you. I think I was thinking let Mr. Kamrul Islam answer, then I would have come into the picture. So yes, COVID has transformed the whole world economy, and India or South Asia is not an exception. But you know, these are civilizations. Whether it is Bangladesh, I would call it Indian subcontinent. I will call it Indian subcontinent. The Indian subcontinent will never, vanish. It has been living for big centuries. It will live for centuries. There are a couple of reasons for that. Number one, we have an inherent system of survival, because the impact of policy or government is so minimal that people know how to live with it and survive and thrive. So we have been doing that for centuries. We will do it for centuries to come. The second logical economic reason, we have a massive population to feed. So just imagine if one Indian eats 3 to 4 times a day, buys 2 to 4 clothes in 6 months or maybe in a year, and drives car or runs bike, the economy is already will be in the cycle of 2 to 4% of GDP growth. So we don't need to worry for 2 to 6% of growth, because we have a huge population with a decent purchasing power. We will come back very soon compared to Europe or even America. America might have much better policy aspects, but we have a huge money to feed. Imagine, I'll just give you one comparison with Europe. Europe has 3 times more than land of India, but it has 1/4 of population of India. This is their advantage. This is also our advantage. So Europe will die out of recession and all this COVID crisis, or will have significant damage. But we will not have, because we have such massive population in the country. On the other hand, I saw Bangladesh is witnessing a positive growth. It is growing at, I think, 3%, even during COVID, if I'm not wrong. Which means Bangladesh, Vietnam, and China, they have done exceptionally well in terms of the economic growth. Bangladesh, see, the other beauty is the next future is there in South Asia. The future, the world, South Asia will lead the world. Indian subcontinent will lead the world. The thing is that now, how does Indians or the Indian subcontinent politicians, policymakers, or people make it their century will be very interesting to see. China has done what it deserved, what it planned, but the next century belongs to India, Indian subcontinent. Bangladesh is leading the way. India is doing tremendously well. I went to the market yesterday to purchase, watch, wall clock, and I made the comment that this is so cheap cloak. It must be made in China. They said no, it is completely made in India. And you can't imagine. I came to know that Oppo, Vivo is so. I ask you the question: what is which one is the largest mobile exporting country? You will be surprised to hear. Now India is the largest exporting country. India is exporting largest number of mobile phones to the world. No one knew this. Now we just need to rebrand it. We need to recalculate, recalibrate. I think this is the next century is the corruption. I also felt China is the most corrupt country of the world, but it is also the most developed country of the most progressive country of the world in today's parameter. So corruption is not the problem of development. The problem of development is something else, which Dr. Malik said that we need a strong leadership. So now Bangladesh has, India also has. We just need to recalibrate things, and it is our century.
Thank you. I just want to share one point. According to Adam Smith, richest countries was India, and especially the Bongo, then Egypt, and eastern part of China. So that was actually 100 years before. That was the economy. Hopefully, it's come again. What we are observing after the COVID, maybe in the Asia, China, India, Middle East, like maybe it's come again, and we will see the ultimately the beauty of economic growth. So I want to ask directly, Mr. Kamdul, what the strategy uh, your planning ministry and your implementation divisions right now implementing for overcome from this COVID-19 situations, or if you have, as you are a scholar, so if you have any kind of strategy that you plan in the future you will implement, you can share with this World Talent Economy Forum.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Akram spoke so fantastically that make my speech so short. I think that I should not speak more because he speak very nicely. You know that the development of Bangladesh is called the development dilemma because lots of problems in Bangladesh, but Bangladesh is growing up. This is one thing of astonishing to other countries in the world. And also in the COVID situation, uh, in South Asia, the COVID situation in Bangladesh is quite good. The people, they don't bother the COVID. Actually, they have nothing to do. They have to go to work for living. And this way, uh, I think that in the economy there is obviously a negative impact of COVID, but I think it is not too much that Bangladesh will uh, face a great problem because you know that already the prediction has been made that our GDP growth will be 3.8, and I hope that it will Bangladesh will be able to cover the problem of COVID within very few times. And the ministry and the government, the central government, what is trying now, that is to mitigate the COVID situation because you know that now the second wave is coming and the government is trying to uh, protect the COVID by uh, many ways like this. At last steps we are doing mobile court uh, to force the people using mask and in the gathering place to set up social distancing, but this is not the way. People should have to be aware themselves. We are thankful to God that He saved us in these situations. Lot of population, if it grew so rapidly, I think that the USA, the superpower in the world, they could not manage. Each day, more than 1,000 people died. But in Bangladesh, the situation is so controlled by the grace of Almighty that each day, generally, the average is not more than 50 any day. So, you know that Rana, that some problems, our ADP growth is now become slow. The government will try to make it fast and recap the problems what is done already, the losses what is done we will try to make up after the COVID situation, and hope that I personally believe that uh, by 2 or 3 months I think that the vaccination will be implemented in all over the world. Bangladesh obviously will get the opportunity and the COVID will goodbye to the from the world, and we again, I agree with Mr. Hawk, the South Asia, the Indian area, we will again try to raise up our flags to the world.
Thank you, Dr. Tausif. Yes, I know that you are Islamic scholar, so how do you want to share this analysis that with the help of Allah, actually South Asia, Bangladesh, and Pakistan, and actually the like for in the COVID situation we survive. That is very important. So one of the scientists from MIT, in one of my panel discussion, he said that especially the Asian peoples, South Asians and the Asian people, they use different kind of spicy in the curry. So this is spicy actually the medicine for against COVID. I don't know, like Dr. Tosif, or you can analyze, but we get it from MIT. Yes, one of the scientists that he shared with us that spicy play a very good role. I don't know what the theory behind that. So Dr. Tosif.
You got to unmute. You got to
Unmute
unmute,
yourself,
Dr. Tosi.
please.
Firstly, Mr. Dr. Sharif and the panel, I'm not an Islamic scholar. I am just being raised with Islamic teaching, and I read a lot, and I try to be with a lot of scholars. Uh, as Mr. Kamrul said, for a Muslim, death is haq. Okay. Now that doesn't mean you do stupid stuff. That's one. When it's haq, then you should not be scared. You should take precaution and save other people's life. Okay. So if you have COVID, doesn't mean that your life is in haq. You should go out. First things, prevention is better. We should all prevent. Now you talked about America, Mr. Islam. In America, what has happened is healthcare is messed up, very bad. Like my mother's eye drop is not even covered in insurance there. It's $160, and when I get it in India, it's only $1. Where is $160 and when is $1? Same company. The other thing is, lot of around $600,000. My data might be wrong, but there are hundreds and thousands of people die of regular flu in America. Regular flu every year because they can't go to the doctor. It's expensive. Medicine is expensive, so they take over-the-counter medication.
I can share, Dr. Tosif, that many people in USA, they are taking medicine from Bangladesh because it is cheap in Bangladesh.
No, whether they're taking, they're taking. The point is they take over-the-counter because going to a doctor is next to impossible. It's too expensive. That's why I'm in India, because my mother is not well. So India is great for healthcare, and even the world vaccine will be distributed from my city. The gentleman Adhar Putnawala is a junior of ours from Bishop School. I'm from the same school, so he's like 3 years junior to us. And they started this vaccine thing. So our Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Bhai Modi ji, would be here in town next couple of days to see this thing. Coming back, Western societies, whatever said and done, the climate is temperate or snow. That is very good for the virus to get up. Whereas Southeast Asia, it is the flu season is not big. In America, the flu season starts regular from October till May. I mean, nearly the whole year is flu. And thanks to COVID, it has disrupted. Now, coming back, if you look at Southeast Asia, as Akram said and Mr. Islam said, and we're discussing, it will emerge because one big reason is population. If you have population, you have purchasing power. You might slow down for a few days, but you will not stop buying things. That is one. Now, why USA is the greatest power? Because a lot of people immigrate to America every year. Okay, unlike Canada, unlike UK, a lot of people. So it's the only developed country in the world which has around 35 crore population, and it is 4 times or 5 times bigger than India. And the purchasing power makes them a superpower. Okay, so when you look at the same theory, and when you look at Southeast Asia, the SAARC region, we have high population. So we will come back from COVID fast. And when you look at the Asia region, Japan and China are already showing growth. I was talking to a few people in Indonesia. They're saying economy is back in action. Okay. I was talking to a few people in Malaysia. They said economy, yeah, we have a lockdown coming up in Putrajaya and Kuala Lumpur. But in January, it's like people are still buying online. When you look at Singapore, I spoke to some people in Singapore. They said the economy is running. When I talked to some people in Hong Kong, they said, okay, fine, the pro-democracy thing is happening, but the trade is not stopped. People are still, So the future is Asia. But I want to throw in, even though I'm an Asian, Africa is the new Asia. If I put $100 in Africa, I'm gonna get $300. If I put $100 in Bangladesh, I only get $140 back. So all investors, because I come from the startup this thing, all investors running actually even in COVID to Africa, and in Africa, as we talked about planning implementation, too many people ask, Rwanda government has created a new startup policy. You don't need to pay anything to register a company in Rwanda. $0. You just go make an application and you get your registration online. Only thing is you should open a bank account and use Rwanda as a bank account. So they have taken Slovenia and all these countries where they're doing e-business for 400 euros. Rwanda says no problems, you come over. And I had a meeting with a guy. He's moved from. There's a lot of Africans from America and Europe, origin people. They're moving back to Africa. They're saying homecoming. Like I came back to India from America, they are homecoming, and they're carrying tons of cash. So one of them was from Jamaica, and I had a great discussion. He says when I come back, the operating cost in Rwanda is only $300 to $400 a month, which is 20,000 rupees in India, maybe 30,000 Dhaka rupees in this thing, and you can have a lavish lifestyle. You can eat out every day. Now, Africa per se is going to boom after this because Chinese companies are also investing in infrastructure, in outsourcing. Nigeria is big. In fact, yesterday I gave a TV interview in Nigeria, and this is what's happening. I said it's going to boom like anything because Nigerians are coming back and putting tons of. See, we have something called non-resident Indians, right? Why Chinese boom came? Because a lot of Chinese actually came back to China. And why Bangladesh is booming? Because I lived in LA, which had a high population of Bangladeshis. And I was talking to a few people. Means I covered your Independence Day a couple of times. And then in Chicago, all these Bangladeshis in America followed the Chinese formula. They said, come and establish a company in Bangladesh. And Indians did is, we will do outsourcing for you. Different angle. Here they're saying you can come, we will open a company. They just follow the Chinese this thing. Now, same thing, the African community is telling the Chinese people, investors to come and invest. So that's a difference. And when you take density of populations, like Akram said, high population, Africa only has Egypt and Cape Town as a highly dense, or maybe Lagos in Nigeria, or maybe in Kenya. But across Africa, city can become smart faster because population density per city is nearly 30%, 70% less than India or Bangladesh. So smart projects can be implemented faster in Africa, and every leader, as we talked about leader, every leader, I have been actually talking to a lot of politicians, every leader wants to get startups, every leader wants to eradicate crime, and crime will get only eradicated when people have money in the pocket. That's what they're following. The Rwanda, the couple of countries actually following that model where business is booming. So for me, yes, as a proud Indian origin, I would want India and South Asia to prosper. But as a businessman, I see value in Africa.
Okay, thank you. It's actually really nice discussions. I just want to add few things. Actually, World Talent Economy Forums, Asia Research and Development Institute, Al Noor Academy, we are working together. We are even we are now connected 100 different countries. Well, what you are discussing, even TAF, we are working with the African community, and with the help of, I want to say, with the help of everyone from the TAF. This year we win this Futuristic Leadership Award, and definitely it goes to all of the credit goes to the speakers, those who join with us. There is a more than 150 speakers from 100 different countries. They join in the World Talent Economy Forum, and I want to give you special thanks for all of your support and everything. And I directly want to go for the concluding remarks. Mr. Kamrul first, then Mr. Akram, then Dr. Tausif.
This is the first time I joined in the forum, and I am highly delighted. I'm thankful to all of you. I'm very happy to join with you, and it was a very wonderful experience to me. I really enjoyed the session. Thank you very much, Mr. Hawk, Mr. Rana, and Dr. Tausif. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Hope
Thank you.
hope we'll meet again.
Inshallah. Inshallah. Mr. Akram.
Thank you so much, Mr. Islam. Wonderful to meet you virtually. Though this is my second episode, concluding remarks. The corona pandemic that we saw, I believe, and it is also a conspiracy. So, belief can become a conspiracy also, and conspiracy can be also your belief. It is the third world war. Since last 20 years, we have been saying that next world war is going to be biological and no bullet will be used. This was the Third World War, is the Third World War. After this, just like after every World War, there is a massive transition of leadership, economic and political, global at the global scale. So this also means that this was done deliberately to change the global political and economic leadership. Now, undisputedly, China is the world leader. America will remain there, just like Russia was there for many years during USSR. The new leadership is in place. We will see the global political and economic structure, the world, forums like United Nations or World Bank or all the four, NATO and all will be taking a new shape. We need to see the new world emerging and how the other important thing that I also want to take, which is very scary for intellectuals like us, because we will be the next target, is also that the emerging countries have taken, the political leaders of these emerging countries have taken tremendous advantage of dictatorial leadership. So you will see in Delhi or in India, small politicians have taken or enjoyed the dictatorial or suppressive leadership. The communist political model will be the new model emerging across the world. The democratic rights and the democratic setup will have to have a huge fight ahead. How much America will fight back, how much Joe Biden will play the role, Dr. Malik will say in future. But the poor and emerging democracies or the backward democracies or these democracies will have a tremendous fight ahead. And the communist political, see, after America became the leader, democracy became a part of the world. Similarly, when China is the world power, we will see a huge amount of change in the world political system.
Thank you. Dr. Tausif.
See, I think Akram made a very profound statement. Empires come, empires grow. You had the Greek Empire, you had the Roman Empire, you had the Egyptian Empire, the Umayyad Empire, the Ottoman Kingdom. Every empire comes to a growth and collapses. America is going to be there for some time because the dynamics of America is totally different. Because there's certain things, because once you live there, I lived in the UK, I lived a lot of places, but the dynamics of America is totally different. Whatever is said and done. Again, for next 100 years, the superpower of America stands, irrespective of the leadership, because the founding fathers have put very amazing thing. And just to spice it up, the discussion, our founding father Thomas Jefferson actually made the American Constitution based on Quran. Very interesting, right?
Based on?
Like based on Islam, Quran. On the Quran. His still Quran is there in the Congress, and a lot of Muslim American politicians swear on that. Keith Ellison was one of them. All these politicians, when they swear, they use it. And America has actually followed more Islam than the Muslim countries. In Islam, Hazrat Umar Farooq Raziallahu said, don't make tower buildings. America only make tower buildings in downtown. If you go to suburbs, there's no tower buildings, only 2-story. The other thing is, in Islam, it talks about sharing your, it's a hadith. If your cook makes some food, he has a share in the food. America started the stock options, employee stock options. No Muslim country does that. So when I start a business, I want to. So employee stock option comes from. other hadith is before the sweat of the employee dries up, give him the money. America is the only country which gives you weekly paycheck or daily paycheck. That's why the economic blues doesn't happen, monthly blues. You don't have to wait for a month to buy stuff. Every weekend buy something. So economic activity is based on that. And whatever said and done, I have traveled across America. A lot of people say you get discriminated at the airport. Nothing happens of that. In America, equality, legal or illegal, citizen or non-citizen, you can fight it out. One day I was taking my dad to drop him, and then oncoming police officer who was undercover police officer hit my car, and I had just bought a car last night, and it went into the court. Think about this thing in Southeast Asia: a policeman hitting a car, and you go in the court and fight. Can you fight that? I fought the case, and I won. The judge, and I didn't take a lawyer. The judge favored me because I was right on the law. Do you think this happens in Southeast Asia or any part of the world? No, it doesn't happen. And twice, same thing happened with me. I thought it was not discrimination. So coming back, America has a lot of DNA which is very different than other Western societies. Yes, there are only two major problems which compelled me to get into being into political activity. And now, as you know, I'm into politics for America Democratic Party. One is healthcare, which is very bad, and one is education. It's too expensive. So if these two things, our current president-elect Biden resolves it, American economy will run faster. Because people don't immigrate to China. Remember that. He might become superpower. People still
Mhm.
want to go to America, right? Why?
Exactly.
Because America is America. There's no country on the planet as of now like that.
Mhm.
Even though
Yes.
China has better infrastructure, but still people want to go to America. People wait outside embassy for hours to get a visa, right? Every time you get rejected, you feel like your life is wasted. It's just a visa, but America is America. So thank God my dad thought good for me that I should be in America. But my concluding remark is, COVID people take as a problem, but there's always an opportunity, right? And if you look at it as an opportunity, you will plan better. The governments can plan better. The city officials, the government officials can better, and businessmen can plan better. And for every problem, there's always a solution. So if you look
Mhm.
at successful people, you will do that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Tosif. That is the point. Actually, World Talent Economy Forum, we are trying to unveil the beauty of different countries, beauty of different strategy. Even though we have a series from White House, we do work with U.S. Chamber of Commerce, we do work with MIT, Stanford. We have different series like that. All of the best, like today's session, those who join as a professional, you are highly successful. So around the world, from 100 different countries, from Africa, from Asia, from Europe, from North America, even from Australia, around 100 different countries, all of the best scholars as well as best business organization like US Chamber of Commerce and everybody joining, and they sharing their views and they share their thought and strategy. So this is ultimately the objective of World Talent Economy Forums. We want to create the connecting the dots. The more we can connect together, we can make more effective economic strategy which will be helpful for our own specific country. And definitely we have to learn from each other. Thank you. Today's session is very valuable for us. Thank you, Mr. Kamrul. Thank you, Mr. Hawk. Thank you, Dr. Tausif. You are always guiding me in a different way. So hopefully we will arrange more policy level discussion like this. And beside that, we are developing our scientific committee, and different part peoples and 100 different cultures people actually joining in our scientific committee. I request today's panelist, if you have time or if you want to join with us, if you share your CV, we will add you in World Talent Economy Forum scientific committee, and I can ensure you the best talented guy from around the world, they already join in World Talent Economy Forum like you. So thank you for your valuable time and everything.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Wonderful to be
Thank you.
here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum.